Hi everyone, it's me, that middle-aged lady. I would like to welcome you to my channel. In today's video, I'm about to head out to go and have my HIDA scan done, which is a tool they use to diagnose gallbladder problems and to test the function of your gallbladder, just to make sure that it's emptying properly into the small intestine and that the bile ducts are working properly. I have been experiencing some symptoms for about, I would say, 3 months now, where I just have an extreme amount of bloating and a lot of kind of discomfort in my abdomen. I also have had a lot of indigestion, and then I just don't feel well after I eat. I've known that I've had issues, relating to my digestion for a while now, but every time I've gone to see the nurse practitioner about it, she basically looks at me like I'm crazy. And I even just recently went to the emergency room because of this, and they did a CT scan, said everything looked fine, and sent me on my way. So thankfully, my gastroenterologist took me seriously, did a colonoscopy that turned out fine, did the upper GI, which is the scope down the throat. That did show that I have gastronitis, which is inflammation of the stomach, which he feels could be also related to the gallbladder. So this is basically the final step, just to determine whether or not the gallbladder is what's causing a lot of my discomfort. And then, as I've said in previous videos, I've also been experiencing a little bit of postmental spotting as well. And so I also have a sonohysterogram set up for Friday, which is where they go into the uterus with a camera so that they can make sure that, there's no polyps, there's no cancer or any other issues going on with either your uterus or your ovaries. At this point, I kind of feel like it is related to the gallbladder, and certainly I'll take that over cancer any day. But I'm glad after several months of going through this that this is going to be at least, the final step to determining whether or not it is my gallbladder. So I will be back a little bit later. I'd like to show you guys a picture of what the HIDA scan looks like, just so in case you've also been ordered to have this test done. I've been told it does not hurt, other than they have to put an IV in. The worst part about it is you have to lay on a table anywhere between 1 to 4 hours while they wait for your gallbladder to empty. Sometimes they will give you an Ensure, which is high in fat. That kind of helps your gallbladder to do its thing, or at least for them to test to see if it's going to be working properly or not. I was told to eat something high in fat 4 hours prior to this test, and then you can't eat up to 4 hours before you're going to have the test done. So I just had, the bagel with lots of butter and then some yogurt, which are both high in fat. That kind of helps the gallbladder to start to do its thing, so hopefully you don't have to be laying on a table for 4 hours. So again, I'll be back in just a little bit to go through the next step of this HIDA scan. I just got my IV put in, nothing too terrible. Now I'm just waiting for them to call me back. So this is the HIDA scan machine. Up at the top, you will see a monitor that as you're laying on your back, they put it above your head so that you can watch it. And that just shows the scan taking place. So the first thing that gets visualized is your liver, and then sometime after that your gallbladder, and then sometime after that your small intestines, which is actually very interesting to watch as they begin to surface on the machine. They also have a time on there, so it counts down to how long you've been laying on the table and how much longer for that test. The first part of the test takes an hour, assuming that they're able to visualize your gallbladder and your small intestines. The second part of the test, it takes a half hour. So I like that they give you that countdown so you have an idea of where you're at. The next part of that, to the bottom of it, it would be the x-ray machine itself that gets lowered down to your abdomen. In my case, it was about maybe 3 inches from my abdomen. So even though the machine is open, still made me feel a little kind of claustrophobic, almost like I was afraid the machine was going to crush me. But after laying there for a couple minutes, I didn't even think about it anymore. And then the other part would be the table itself that you lay down on. Your feet face the machine, your head faces the opposite direction. They do give you a pillow to make you more comfortable, and then this other thing that you put your legs over, so it kind of keeps your legs up a little bit so you don't get too sore from laying there. I do feel like they make you as comfortable as they can. They'll turn the light off if you want to maybe close your eyes and take a little cat nap, pretty much leave you alone, and then they'll give you a little button that you can press just in case you start to feel nauseous. And that's pretty much all there is to the machine. So I just got out of the HIDA scan. Wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Basically, I laid flat on a table on my back, and then he injected something into my IV, and then it started to take pictures of the liver, gallbladder, and small intestines. The last half hour of the test, they then inject this radioactive material in through the IV that then goes to the gallbladder, and shows whether or not the gallbladder is contracting like it should and emptying the bile into the small intestines. And so that, I guess, shows whether or not there's an issue with your gallbladder. Obviously, I don't have the results yet. I have an appointment on Thursday with my gastroenterologist. Today's Tuesday, so I will go then. So other than that, if you have to have a HIDA scan done, no worries. It's no big deal. Time is the main thing. You just have to lay on your back. After that hour, if you need to get up, use the restroom, walk around, they allow you to do that. In my case, I was comfortable. Just do the next half hour thing, get it done and over with so I can be heading home, which is what I'm doing right now. And so later on in this video, I will be back to let everybody know whether or not it's the gallbladder and then where to go from here. I am back to give the final update to my video since I went back to the gastroenterologist today to get the results of my HIDA scan. As I said earlier, the whole purpose of a HIDA scan is to test the function of the gallbladder, because you can have a CT scan done, an MRI, or even an ultrasound to see whether or not you might have gallstones or even any type of inflammation of the gallbladder. But the only real way to test the function of it is to have the HIDA scan done, and what they're looking for is the injection rate of how long it takes the gallbladder to empty the bile through the bile ducts and in through the small intestine. And they measure that by percentage. What percent is your gallbladder functioning at? Anything 40 to 35% or lower is considered abnormal, so that means there's an issue with the gallbladder. And then anything above 40% is considered normal, and it means your gallbladder is doing exactly what it's meant to do. So my result came back at 61%, which is well above that 40% mark, which means my gallbladder is working just fine. I'm not sure if my gastroenterologist was more surprised at this result or me, since we were both highly leaning toward the fact that it had to be the gallbladder. And it just makes me think that in times past, how many people had their gallbladder out based on their symptoms and a doctor's hunch, oh, it's got to be the gallbladder, only to later find out it wasn't the gallbladder and it was actually something different. So I'm glad for this test. I think it is definitely the best way to tell whether or not there is a problem with the gallbladder, so they're not unnecessarily taking it out. But I can also say that the results of this were a little bit bittersweet for me, since obviously I'm happy it's not the gallbladder. I'm happy I'm not going to have surgery to have it removed. But at the same time, this has now pretty much exhausted all of the possibilities of what this could be, other than something being related to my female organs. So whether it's the uterus or the ovaries, could be a fibroid tumor that's causing my symptoms, could be a cyst, although that's rare in postmenopausal women. It could be the endometrial lining. It might have, grown a little bit too thick, or it could be either uterine or ovarian cancer. And so obviously if I had to pick having my gallbladder removed or having cancer, obviously I'm going to pick the gallbladder. So that's why it's a little bit bittersweet. I'm glad that I was proactive and I went ahead to see the gastroenterologist while I was waiting in to have a procedure done through my gynecologist to see whether or not this is female related. So I didn't just sit there, doing nothing about it. At least, like I've said in a previous video, perhaps I wasn't able to figure out exactly what is causing this yet, but through these tests, I was able to check those boxes and know positively what it's not. So I know it's not caused from the colon, any issues with my colon. I know it's not caused from my stomach or any issues with my stomach. And now I know it's not caused by the gallbladder or any issues with that. And those are really, besides that, and then female related, any of the things that it could be. If you are somebody who was also recently ordered to get a HIDA scan, I hope that you found the video informative, and from experience I can tell you it's definitely nothing to be worried about. It's not painful, it's not uncomfortable. Obviously it's not fun to lay on a table for over an hour and a half, but you just close your eyes and before you know it, the test is done and over with. So definitely don't be concerned about it, because it's really nothing to be worried about. So I just want to thank you all for joining me and for supporting me, and I will look forward to being back next time.